Alright, we're recording. So, I've had a couple of people lately ask me this question that I think about a lot. The gist of it is, like, where do you find the deepest motivation to stick with a certain type of diet or way of eating? And where do you find your deepest grit? And every time I go to the endocrinologist, he asks me the same question, and we spend more time in my appointment talking about that than we do about anything else. And it's, why am I different than his other patients? What makes me more capable of doing what I've chosen to do than other people? And, like, I don't know how to answer this question, because I don't know where other people find their motivation. I only know where I find my motivation. And, I mean, like, my whole life, my deepest fear has been going blind and ending up trapped inside my own body and unable to interact with the rest of the world. Like, absolute horrible, most worst thing that could possibly ever happen to me is to become crippled and end up, in a body that doesn't work. That's my worst fucking fear ever, and I'm not sorry that I have some strong language about that. And what motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing is that, I hit my absolute worst rock bottom ever in my entire life when I was 25 years old, and I found out that I was starting to go blind in one eye from type 1 complications. I was 25 when I started to develop problems that don't usually affect people until they're in their 70s and 80s. So let that sink in for a moment. They told me that I would probably be blind, mostly blind, in that eye by 30, and I would probably be totally blind by 40. And they told me that these complications were progressive, that there's nothing you can do about it. It's a shame that it happened to me so young, but oh shit, that's just diabetes. Sorry, kid. Do you know what that's like? Do you know what kind of, personal hell that was? That was the worst, lowest point in my entire life, and I did not know how to handle it. I didn't have the coping skills for that shit, and I'll be honest, I don't think any 25-year-old has the coping skills for that shit, So, that's why I started doing all these dietary changes, because I was like, how do I make this stop? There has to be a way. I will not accept that this is progressive. I will not roll over, and I will not go belly up to the fact that, oh fuck, there's just nothing you can do about it. I call total fucking bullshit on that. Total bullshit. That's where I find my motivation. I find it in the fact that I refuse to accept someone else's idea of what the rest of my life is going to look like. And someone else's idea of what the rest of my life was going to look like at that point was awful. It was full of blindness and neuropathy and losing my limbs and having my body shut down from the inside out until I could not function anymore and I died. And I was facing that at 25 years old. That's some deep shit, man. That's some heavy shit. And I don't think anybody deserves to go through that. And I don't care about some piece of cake or some donut or some cookie or whatever it is. There is no food on this planet. None. There is absolutely no food on this planet that is more important than these. than these. There is no food that is more important than my own physical integrity. And I don't know how to help someone else find that motivation, because my motivation is that if I choose to eat certain foods, they will harm me. Like, immediately harm me, and for the long term, they will harm me. And not just, oh, I won't feel so great, or oh, my belly will hurt. Like, chronic, long-term high blood sugars cause neuropathy and cardiovascular problems and damage. Is that a duck call?
That he said today.
That's
What do you
great.
think they're just gonna like flock to you? Like, what is the goal?
They flocked to this lady over there with some crackers, so you might want to try that.
No,
Wait,
that's
mate,
just
Susan.
that
Right?
retarded
Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm at a public park by a nice pond. And some people just walked by, and this dude was trying to call the ducks over. I don't know. Anyway, talking about food and motivation. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't know where people find it. I know where I found it. I know what it means to me.